All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. It is Wednesday, February 4th. Today, we got a lot of stuff going on. We got the NASDAQ slightly green. AMD is down pretty substantially if you take a look at it. Bitcoin sitting right around 76,000. But look at AMD this morning. AMD reacted really negatively to their earnings. Dropped all the way down. It's at 220 right now for AMD. But yeah, gold prices and silver have stabilized a little bit. Gold is back over 5,000. Silver is back around $90 an ounce. So these are stabilizing a little bit here. Oil, on the other hand, is down slightly on the day after pushing up yesterday from tensions in Iran and stuff like that. Again, crypto, Bitcoin sitting right around 76,000 right now. If you look at actual Bitcoin here, it's right around 76. And this comes after... Well, number one, the U.S. government resumed today. So the government is back open today. President signed it last night. And yeah, the government is now back open. We got a deal done in the House. President signed it. Now the government's back open today. We'll see when some of these economic data start to come out. But yeah, interesting market right now. Again, AMD down significantly. We do have ADP jobs coming out at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. Again, Palantir is still running up at 150s, but did pull back a little bit yesterday after gapping up pretty significantly from their earnings. You can look at Palantir here. Again, we do have ADP jobs. This is the monthly ADP report. It's not the small weekly one that doesn't really move things. This is the monthly ADP report, which is much more relevant, much more influential over markets. And this comes ahead of a potential week. There's rumors that we might get the JOLTS report today. It just depends on whether the Bureau of Labor Statistics comes back and ultimately reschedules that report for today for JOLTS. I doubt they will. I think it'll be tomorrow, maybe early next week if we don't get it today. But we'll see what happens. We do have ISM manufacturing PMI later. And again, this comes after Burry came out kind of critical of Bitcoin. So Michael Burry came out. He talked about GameStop in one of his newest posts. He talked about Bitcoin specifically. He warned Bitcoin's decline could wipe out significant value for companies. Bitcoin's not really reacting to this because it is Burry, but he says Bitcoin has failed as a safe haven like gold and behaves more like a volatile stock tied to the S&P 500. He said aggressive holders face bankruptcy risks as it continues to fall, potentially triggering broader market turmoil. He also said, quote, regarding GameStop here. You can take a look at GameStop as a company. But he said, I've been buying GameStop. I own GameStop. I've been buying recently. I expect I am buying at what may soon be 1x tangible book value, 1x net asset value, and getting a young Ryan Cohen investing and deploying the company's capital and cash flows, perhaps for the next 50 years. Again, Michael Burry said this, a couple weeks ago. But again, Burry didn't make another post where he said, GameStoppers, if you want to get rich on GameStop, if and when Ryan gives the signal on that merger Monday meme like no other one has come before. He basically gave three options for potential merger. He said SanDisk was one. He said Google was another, Alphabet, and then what was the other one? I can't remember. I think the other one was AMD. I don't know. But that post came out, I think, yesterday. And yeah, we did have some earnings this morning, specifically... Senator Warren and others are urging the FTC to scrutinize tech AI deals, according to CNBC, citing senators' letters regarding NVIDIA, Meta, and Google. And so again, Senator Warren and others are urging the FTC to scrutinize tech AI deals. Maybe for the circular financing, I don't know. But yeah, NASDAQ is still technically green on the day. If we look at the NQ here, it's at 25 fours. So... if we look at a 5-day chart, we've really been in a big range, but really kind of flat here. Yeah, today's ADP. Again, big story, gold and silver stabilize. Yeah, metals are back up. Again, here's gold and silver. Take a look at gold and silver. Here's gold. Over 5K an ounce. Just under 50.70 an ounce. Here's silver on the left. Up to just about 90. So again, we have filled some of this gap. Here's the big crash we faced not that long ago for silver. And so we have filled some of that gap on the upside. We're back up to almost 90 right now for silver. So silver's almost back up. It's almost back up. What's up, Matthew, Mama Pawn, Halo, MVK, Nor, Heirloom, Keegan, Smoke, Sergio. Jonathan, the real Jono, Brad Skull, what's up, chat? George. Yeah, we're still getting ADP today. ADP is a payroll processor. Yeah, so ADP is a payroll processor. So ADP produces payrolls. And so a lot of people consider them to have more accurate data than some of the official jobs data, is what it is, right? And so with that, ADP produces two different reports. They produce what's called the weekly employment report, which drops every Tuesday. But on the week in which we get the monthly report, which is this week, which is today at 8:15, we get the monthly report. They only release the monthly report, so we get that today. It's the monthly jobs report versus, versus the much smaller weekly report that we get from ADP. Yeah, Michael Burry advocating GameStop, critical of AI and advocating for GameStop. Again, in AMD, it's had a rough couple days too. Specifically yesterday when they released their earnings, and they are down to 220s right now. So AMD not looking great this morning either. Down significantly again. Gold and silver bouncing back. NASDAQ slightly green on the day. Slightly green on the day. But again, the government is back resumed. Again, yesterday the House narrowly passed the funding package 217 to 214. And the president signed it, ending the partial shutdown and fully funding most agencies through September, although the Department of Homeland Security is on a shorter stopgap of 2 weeks, I believe. So with that funding restored, the data blackout is going to clear. We're going to have the jobs report, which was supposed to come out this Friday. I don't know if they're going to delay it. I hope they don't. I think, they've already compiled it, or they should have. The government only closed down on Monday, really. Like, a lot of these agencies, the only day they really missed was Monday and Tuesday. So now it's Wednesday. They missed 2 days. I don't know if we need to delay some of these reports, but we'll see what they do. Next week, we have CPI, inflation, and more. But with funding restored, we should start to get some at least updates on the schedule of some of these data releases. And there's rumors of getting the JOLTS report today. Again, Bitcoin near 70K. Gold and silver stabilizing after the big crash that they were in. And yeah, that's where we're at right now. Hey, what's up, Don? I worked in accounting. Some of my clients used ADP to process their employees' payrolls. Yeah, they're a payroll processor. They have all that data. So, yeah, they're a payroll processor. They have a lot of that data. Yeah, we can look at copper. I mean, look, silver and gold are elevated today. Gold is back a little bit more than silver was. Gold all the way back up to over 5,000, which I think is a good... it's a good psychological level of 5K. I think if we can hold over 5K, then maybe we'll make another test for 6. The gold, honestly, and hasn't pulled back that much. Silver was the one that really dipped. And gold has filled some of the gap up back to 5,100. So, again, in a Reuters poll about palladium and platinum prices, platinum is expected to average $2,400 an ounce this year, up from $1,550 in the previous poll. Palladium is seen at $1,800 an ounce this year, up from $1,260 an ounce. Next year, analysts forecast platinum at $2,425 an ounce and palladium at $1,700 an ounce. We also had Eli Lilly post earnings, and they're reacting really well to this. You can see Eli Lilly popped over 1,000 at $1,074. Currently, $1,074. But again, we got ADP data. Let me get the timer up for ADP. I'll put the expectation numbers up as well for this. But we do have ADP data coming out. What time is it right now? It is Okay, so we have about... All right, that's enough. $8:15 a.m. is when the ADP jobs report comes out. So, yeah, we'll see what we get. We also have ISM manufacturing PMI today. There we go. We'll put the ADP timer up in the corner right here. Again, the NASDAQ has started to break back down though here. So if we look at the NQ, we did get a little dip now. Here's the previous closing price. So this previous close is right here. This light blue line right here is the previous closing price. We'll see if we hit it, but this previous closing price is right here at about 420, 25, 420. So we dropped all the way from 490 all the way back down to 420. We had Russia foreign minister on India buy Russian oil. We have no reason to believe our Indian friends have reconsidered their approach. Eli Lilly is planning to bring Zepbound multi-dose to the market within 30 days. Senator Warren again and others are urging the FTC to scrutinize tech AI deals, according to CNBC. And China and Russia are working together a little bit more. China's President Xi invited Russian President Putin to visit China in the first half of this year. Putin accepted, so they have talked for 1.5 hours. Putin informed Xi on his talks with Iran's leader, according to Interfax. Other earnings this morning were Yum Brands, Texas Instruments, Phillips, CME Group, and we did have 30-year mortgage rates show up at 6.21%. Previously, they were 6.24%. Again, NASDAQ bouncing right here at this previous close, hitting the volume-weighted average price. AMD down pretty significantly from all this stuff right now. So, bad earnings reaction for AMD. And today we have Google earnings after the closing bell. So we do have some stuff going on. And, are y'all bullish or bearish today? Let me know. Again, here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's really just pretty flat and sideways. It's not really moving. Bitcoin is just kind of sitting tight. Do a poll. Bull, bear, bullish, bear. Is AI rolling over? We see some AI corrections here. Again, SanDisk is another interesting company here. Here's SanDisk. So SanDisk at 680s right now. It's holding most of the gains it put in from its earnings report. It hit 725s yesterday at the opening bell, but it didn't really hold those, but it still held most of the upward push it got from earnings. So SanDisk is up. Yeah, I mean, lasers. All right, I'm gonna do a poll. Bull or bear today? Go to the poll. There's the poll. It's now live. Again, we do have the ADP data going live at 8:15 in about 45 minutes. Yeah, so far 86% are bullish in the initial votes we got so far. I'm sure that's gonna change though. Again, Tillis said would support Warsh after the power probe is settled. Tom Tillis says Warsh is a great pick for the Fed. And again, Russia said no reason to think India reconsidered their energy cooperation. Again, so the data today, guys, it's expected at 46,000. Last time was 41,000. And again, there's rumors we might get jolts today. We'll see what happens when we get some updates from the company. As of now, the company that posts a lot of the economic data, specifically the Bureau of Labor Statistics, really hasn't given us an update yet. They're probably not open, really. I get up early. But here's the BLS, right? So the BLS still just has this up, which is the website is currently not being updated due to the suspension of the federal government. Last update was Monday. And so we still don't have an update in terms of economic reports, but we do have rumblings that we might get jolts today. So we'll see what happens. If we do get it, it's probably going to be at 10 a.m. And yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, so Russia foreign minister, or the foreign ministry did say something about Iran-U.S. tensions. They said, "We hope that during the meeting between Iran and the U.S. scheduled for Friday in Istanbul, steps will be taken to prevent further escalation." End quote. So again, we do have news updates there. And again, we got some AMD price targets and buy ratings this morning. Benchmark reiterated a buy on AMD, maintained 325 price target. But again, software stocks are getting kind of crushed right now. AMD posted, and it's not really software, but it posted an EPS of about $1.53, which beat the 132, 134 consensus. Revenue came in at $10.3 billion, up 34% year over year. For quarter one guidance, they guided $9.5 to $10 billion, above the $9.37 billion consensus. So they beat and raised for AMD and still negatively reacted pretty obviously here. So again, AMD did good. You know, if you look at it, if you can follow me on x.com and get some of these updates, but AMD did pretty good here. They posted again 153 versus 130s, 10.2 versus 9.6, and raised guidance here. So they did pretty good, but still no love for AMD. Again, if you look at it, AMD's down to 220s right now, 220s. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the street was expecting. They must have been expecting more. Again, there's this really stringent expectational thing going on with earnings where people are just really fickle in their expectations. They are really I'm not gonna say unreasonable in their expectations, but probably a little unreasonable. Looking at our poll, we're pretty 60-40 split down the middle here, or not down the middle, but 60-40. Yeah, we do have ISM services today, and on ISM manufacturing data Monday did move markets, right? So ISM services definitely has the ability to move markets. Again, we'll see what happens, but yeah, NASDAQ's fighting back higher here. I might short the NQ here, so we might actually take some shorts. Let me find my trades here. We might short this. One contract of the NASDAQ here. What happens? Size. Go. We'll cut half of that there, or a third of that, not a third. Just got the easy rejection off the 200 exponential. And I think if I can wait for that 200 EMA, it can be just really profitable. If I could just wait for that level here. Got a retracement. I'd like a little bit more of a breakdown here, though, but we'll see if we get it. We did tap the 200 exponential. What should I make all this already? I know I was up a couple hundred on this already. Hold on, let me see. We're definitely green. Okay. There we go. Look at that. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it right there. Just made about $150. So yeah, we're up about 230. 230 right now. Yeah, we'll see if it holds. That 200 exponential rejection, man. Look at this. 200 EMA right here. Clean rejection. Clean rejection. Would you buy AMD? I'm not buying AMD personally. AMD is simply up too much right now. A 200 exponential rejection is clean here, though, man. That's an easy rejection. AMD, look, the problem with AMD is it looks like a big pullback, and I get it. But if you put up a yearly chart on AMD, this thing's been wild. This thing was at $120 to start at the start of last year. Now, it is looking back at history, but this thing was at, again, $110, $120. So it's gone from $100 basically up to $250 right now, or $240, $260 at its highs. It's back down to 220s now. But if you look at the last year, it's still up substantially. And so it's just up too much a little bit in a year for me to want to buy the dip. Personally, that's just me. Yeah, AMD had earnings, Uber had earnings, and they're back down to the 70s here. You can see 74s right now for Uber, although the dip did get bought up for Uber. So Uber dip did get bought up. It's at 74.20s right now. Again, the NASDAQ down at 25.4s. So AMD is a 400 billion market cap. Yeah, I mean, again, they're up so much over the last 12 months. It's just hard for me to buy that. Regardless of how clean it is. I know the cool thing is just to kind of talk about AI and buy. I get it. But for me, it's just too much risk. Like, it's just up too much. I'm just not really interesting. Earnings were great for AMD, and that's great. PE ratio still high. NASDAQ still falling down. Again, getting rejected exactly at the 200 EMA. Yeah. Again, we got the ADP jobs report in 37 minutes. Yeah, Google earnings today. We'll see how strict everybody's being with some of these tech earnings, but we do have Google earnings today. We'll see how strict things are. AMD will come back, guided higher. Yeah, they did guide well. They did have good earnings. Again, here's AMD. 220s right now. I mean, I don't hate a dip. I think if the market starts to heat up, then AMD could rebound back up. I don't think that's a crazy thought. But if I'm talking about long-term holding, you know, it depends on how long-term. What I'm really talking about is swing trading AMD, and I don't know if I'm interested in swing trading it here. Again, NASDAQ still falling down here. Look at this drop. So the NASDAQ is still tumbling down. Again, the U.S. Treasury quarterly refunding announcement is going to be at 8:30 Eastern Time. On Monday, the Treasury said it expects to borrow $574 billion in quarter one of a previously expected number of $550 billion. With an in-cash balance of $850 billion, it expects to borrow $109 billion in quarter two with an in-cash balance of $900 billion. In quarter four, they borrowed $550 and ended the quarter with a cash balance of $873 million. And NASDAQ still tumbling down here. We're at 25.4s right now in the NQ here. So, okay, let's see if we can find a reason for this drop. NVIDIA has been struggling lately. NVIDIA dropped all the way down to 170s yesterday. So, again, a lot of people are talking about software crash. Seeing the same earnings I am because I'm pretty sure AMD got clobbered due to weaker than expected guidance. Yeah, AMD beat and raised guidance, I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong. Let me check. Hold on. I'm pretty sure they beat and raised. What I'm showing is they posted quarter one 9.5 to 10.1 billion above the 9.37 billion consensus for quarter one guidance. Signal strong growth in data centers, specifically in AI. Again, if that's wrong, let me know. It might be wrong. I don't freaking know. Back. NASDAQ still tumbling down here. Yeah, they raised guidance. Here's their guidance expectations right here. So again, I mean, it kind of shows companies. Look, there's their guidance numbers right there. I might have double posted it. But again, they beat and raised for guidance. What's up, Sam? NASDAQ reverses, you might see some comeback on. Yeah, I mean, look, here's a big drop in the NQ. The NASDAQ is not down small over the last 30 minutes here. Again, there's also worries about software slumps, right? We're worried about software slumps. There's been a sharp rotation out of software and into chips and infrastructure with AI stuff. S&P Software and Services Index is down over 20% from its highs and logging its worst day since 2020 crash on January 29th. Software companies, cloud companies, Salesforce, Adobe, Datadog, and others got hit in sympathy despite decent prints and some showing good earnings. Microsoft's report showed a record AI capex, but slower core cloud growth, you know, which kind of fed the software slump narrative, feeding the narrative that AI spend helps infrastructure, chips, and data centers more than software as a service and traditional software right now. So, yeah. And Nvidia down to 180s, man. This thing was at 190s not that long ago. Yeah, so here is the X&P Software Services, XSW. You can kind of see how much this thing has gotten hit. And here's the software. They've dropped from 181 on this down to 150s. It's the Spider S&P Software and Services ETF, tracks that index with software. You can see how weak it is right now. You looking bad this week? Sort of a bear market. Yeah, I mean, NASDAQ and Q are the same thing. The QQQ is just a triple leverage version of the NASDAQ 100. But yeah, I mean, if you look at a 5-day chart here, I don't know, things aren't too bad. We've seen some drops over the last 3 days in the Q, but we've already had some big run-ups, and so I would say we're almost flat on the last 5 days. Like since January, what is this? Since January 21st, the NASDAQ's basically flat. It's actually technically green a little bit since January. So now if we look at it since like the 28th, we've had a little slump here for sure. So maybe this is the week you're looking at. NASDAQ had a little slump, but this is just earnings volatility, I think, as well. 62% of people think are bullish today. 38% are bearish. Again, 62 bullish, 38% are bearish. Again, we do have ADP data today at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. ADP jobs data at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time today. So we'll see what that looks like as well. All the big U.S. banks, yeah, silver and gold are bouncing back some, but the question is, does this rally continue? Are y'all interested in buying gold or silver right now? Basically, do y'all think they're going to continue to fill the gap that they put in on the crash, on the upside? Do y'all think they're going to continue up for gold and silver? Yes or no? Do they bounce back? Sam says all the big U.S. banks forecast their silver predictions to roughly 150 an ounce. Problem is, COMEX has an ounce of physical silver for each 256 paper silver being traded. ISM services sometimes is more important than ISM manufacturing. It just depends. No, not time to buy silver. Yes, it is time to buy silver. I bought the dip in silver and cut it on the bounce yesterday. Yes, I am holding, not buying anymore. Yeah, let me know what you guys are doing with silver. Bearish, 1,000% for silver. Sounds good to me, man. I don't want it to be over. Russell's looking good. Be very careful trading COMEX silver. You may get margin called and forced to close. Just hodl. I'm looking at gold now. Looks like up today. The 50 DMA crossing over 200, moving up. We'll see the direction. Yeah, gold is interesting. I mean, gold is up more than silver is. Again, here's gold on the left side. This is gold. Gold is over 5K an ounce, which I think is a big psychological level that could prop it up. But again, because of that, I'm definitely watching 5,000 right here. Like 5,000 an ounce is obviously like a really important level to pay attention to. So 5,000 an ounce. I think $100 an ounce can be a similar thing for silver, but it needs to get over it first. So here's $100 an ounce. So for silver, that's what I'm specifically watching. You know, now at the same time though, gold and silver a lot of the time rally when markets are going down and there's fear and the VIX is up. So gold and silver a lot of the time and sometimes rally. So if silver and gold continue to rally, maybe we will continue to get corrections. But it's not a perfect correlation, but roughly for gold at least, there's a tendency for it to catch a bid and, you know, increase and follow, have a correlation with the VIX, right? The VIX will generally go up when there's uncertainty and markets might go down. And so that might cause markets to go into fear mode. Investors rotate into safe havens to hedge, essentially. But it's not a perfect relationship. Shorting gold last night. Hey, really shouldn't be trading silver unless $1 million account. AMD earnings release and guide was good. My bad, bro. Maybe it was just an irrational drop. Yeah, I mean, look, one of the things that we're seeing here, and this is something that if you guys watch the stream, one of the things I've been saying here, and I've been saying this for at least 2 or 3 weeks now, leading into this earnings season. One of the things I'm seeing is that people are just more strict traders, investors, buyers are more strict on earnings for tech right now. And what do I mean by that? Is that they want a beat and raise scenario, and even that's sometimes not good enough, like you can see in AMD, right? And so traders want a beat and raise scenario, investors want a beat and raise scenario. And even when we get one, like AMD beat EPS by a pretty significant margin, beat revenue by a pretty specific margin, a pretty decent margin, and raise their guidance, right? That outcome should, a lot of the time historically made stocks go up. It's never perfect. A lot of the moves are happening ahead of it, but that type of earnings release should have made AMD increase, at least if we're looking at historical patterns. But AMD did not go up. AMD, in fact, dropped a pretty big percentage on their earnings report. Now, there's a lot more nuance to it, but again, I said this 3 weeks ago. I think traders, investors, analysts are being more strict with tech, right? So they need a beat and raise scenario. They need higher EPS, higher revenue, and better guidance. And again, even when they get that, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going up, like you can see with AMD. Now, whether the dip gets bought up and people start saying, hey, well, it beat EPS, revenue, and guidance, let me buy it now, I think that could be a story. We'll have to see what happens later in the day. But yeah, it could be a story. When it's expected that it's priced in and profit taking happens, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Google and Alphabet essentially dropped their earnings after the closing bell today. We will be streaming this. But yeah, Google and Alphabet, or Google releasing their numbers today. I feel like they want a beat and raise scenario and a future outlook on the use of AI and robotics. Yeah, I mean, again, looking at our poll, 61% are bullish today, 39% are bearish. And again, we do have the ADP jobs report. It is the monthly report, so it is the more significant one. We do get one weekly, but this is the monthly report for ADP. So, Enphase. Yeah, look at Enphase. I mean, Enphase has had a tough, a tough time. Enphase has had a really tough few years. Has dropped pretty significantly. So Enphase is pushing up a little bit from their earnings report. It's not crazy when you look at a longer term trend, but Enphase is gapping up a little bit in their earnings from 30s, pretty big percentages too. So, and again, looking at AMD, a lot of people, reiterating what I said, which is that AMD expectations were just too high. The bar for AI semiconductors is extreme. Traders were positioned for a blowout beat and guide. So even with a solid beat and raise, it was treated as not enough. Again, Q1 revenue, $9.8 billion, beat the published consensus of 9.4, but people wanted more than that. They wanted 10+ billion in guidance and a steeper AI ramp. So a lot of people were disappointed, and we didn't really have a big follow through. We actually had a little bit of a disappointment. Again, AMD had the AI ramp disappointment. AI data center momentum, while strong, still isn't closing the gap to NVIDIA as fast as people wanted. Again, they wanted more. They wanted higher beats, larger raises and guidance, and they just didn't get it, and so AMD tumbled down. Again, gold and silver, interesting today. NASDAQ, slightly red on the day, but we're basically flat on the day on the NQ now. We're basically flat. Here's the previous close, right at 24,420s. This light blue line right here. I have a script that documents where it closed yesterday on TOS. That light blue line is where the NASDAQ closed yesterday. And so we're close enough to that. And again, Alphabet stock, if we take a look at it, is up to 340s right now. So Alphabet's pushing as well. And then today we do have ISM data. Again, there's rumblings we might get jolts. AMD bleeds money. Look at Palantir, did well and then drops. Yeah, gap fills is what we're seeing. Expectations for Palantir were too high, but their earnings report was crazy good. Bullish on a Wednesday? I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Everyone expecting that bounce from the government to open. A serious investor and looking for trading talents. Look. I'm not saying you're a scammer. But you could be one, Serious high-profile investment banker in Europe. Is your cousin the king? I sell tailored apps for traders with dashboards. Is your cousin the king? You know, does he need help right now? Let me know. I'm here. You know, I'm here. Yeah. Because listen, guys, when the son of the deposed king of Nigeria emails you directly asking for help, you help. You know, I'm not saying it's a scam, but, no. What's PayPal doing? I'm in PayPal right now. I'm green on the day, down a little bit, though. I'm probably just going to sit in PayPal, I think. Not a huge position. I can usually wait it out. Hey, nice Hunter. Got 4,500 in payout secure. Just waiting for Friday to get my other account at the 3,000 payout. Hey, nice, man. Good job. Again, here is Dow. Dow is actually a little green on the day as well. NASDAQ is red. I'm looking at this 25. I don't know why I have this level on my chart here. Which always makes me kind of curious because sometimes I'll just leave levels on the chart. But in hindsight, this little green level here, I don't know what it's for. But it kind of looks like it's working. Maybe I'll just leave it on the chart. This level right here, I don't know what it is. All right, guys, ADP jobs report. About 20 minutes or so. Hey, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate it, Kevin. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. The face of a serious investor. Because I don't know what looks more serious as an investor. You know, listen. Take my money here, bro. He's got to be legit. You know? Like, when I think of like a professional investor in Europe, this is what I think of right here. You know? Take my money, dude. You know? Sign me up. You know? Just called me Kevin. Because when I clicked on your profile, because I always check, you know, it says Kevin. Is your name not Kevin? All right, again, here's the Dow. Again, here's the E-mini. S&P just under 7,000 still. He made me 10K this past week. You know. Again, will we get jolts today? What do you guys think? I don't think we're going to. I find it hard to believe that they're going to open up jolts the day they resume. I feel like they need a day to strategize, organize. Okay, let me see if I can get into some other trades here. Again, NASDAQ has been tumbling down right now if we look at it. Again, Bitcoin's still around 75K. But the NASDAQ, again, tumbling down a little bit here. Not really holding like you wanted to. King Cake. Jolts yesterday is done by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And while the government shutdown was only a partial shutdown, the government shutdown, again, was only partial. And so what I mean by that is that the government shutdown, it included what was shut down included the Bureau of Labor Statistics specifically. Most of the other ones, like jobless claims tomorrow, we're still getting BEA data, the Bureau of Economic Analysis data. So like PCE inflation data we would still be getting even if the government was partially shut down still, which is not. It resumed today. But one of the ones that it did include in the shutdown was the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They specifically report jolts. They report the monthly employment report, non-farm payrolls and unemployment data, basically. What else do they do? It's the jobs report. It's jolts. Am I missing something from the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics? CPI inflation data and PPI inflation data. So they post CPI and PPI inflation data. But again, We're supposed to get CPI next week. I don't think it. They've only been shut down for 2 days. They've only been shut down for 2 days. They started Monday. It's now Wednesday. Government's back out. And so, you know, I don't know how much, like, they might pretend they're in shambles. But they've only been shut down for 2 days here. Like, get your stuff together. Get back on it. Publish jolts. Huh? Right, that's what I'm saying. Government shuts down for 2 days and they can't report collection data for 2 months afterwards. Opinions on Supermicro semiconductors? Yeah, I mean, Supermicro, again, it had some big runs, but this thing is volatile. I've been telling people this thing's volatile. This thing was really hot. Supermicro semiconductors was really, really hot for maybe 3 months. It had a period where everybody's like, oh, Supermicro, Supermicro. And to be fair, it was making some wild moves during that period of time. If we put up a daily chart here, you know, this thing went all the way up to $60, $66 a share. After its IPO, it got pretty high. The problem is that the swings that it made were ridiculous. And this is exactly what I said at the time with Supermicro, was that there's too much variance. Like, I don't want to buy this thing and it drops down 15%, 20, 30, 40% in 2 days. That doesn't seem fun to me. I don't want to take that type of trade. And that's what you kind of get. It went up to 66, back down to under 25, back up over 60, back down under 40, back up to almost 60, back down to 20s. You know, and now from its earnings report, maybe it's an easy range to capitalize, but now from its earnings report, it's at 32. And so the range is a little bit too whippy for me. And we'll see. I mean, if AI benefits, Supermicro could do well. But it's not really something that I'm interested in buying just because of the variance and volatility that it puts in. It's just not my style, so to speak. Yeah, it's just not really my style. Is it time to buy AMD, chat? I don't know, man. Again, AMD, what's the PE ratio currently of AMD? I'm showing 37 a share, but others are showing 116 to 120. So let me look. Looks like I'm gonna have to calculate this myself. Let's figure out what AMD, what their PE ratio is. I'm sure somebody in the chat's gonna figure it out before I do. So again, AMD yesterday specifically posted they posted what, 153s yesterday. So let's look at this. 153 plus 120. Yesterday should actually help their PE ratio, it looks like. Plus 48 cents plus 96 cents. Their yearly EPS is about $4.17 here. The $4.17. AMD had a price at $2.20. So it's going to be about 50. Or maybe a little bit higher than that. Yeah, it's like 52 PE ratio. So it's better than the hundreds that they've been in for a while now. You know, their earnings increase. 153 is good EPS. Good growth. Good increases to, you know, earnings with AMD, but the PE ratio, which ideally should be between 20 and 30, maybe 15 if we're looking at 30 years ago PE ratios. 50 is not good, but it's better than it was for AMD. Yeah, Enphase popping up big. All right, guys. Hey, we have 16, 17 minutes now until this data drops. Are you trading silver today? I don't know. Maybe. I'll probably trade at least a little. We'll see, though. It's restricted in some places. Again, I'll probably trade it. But, yeah, I see some people that have been, like, obsessing over the stream. And listen, like, you know, trolls and haters. And it's like, listen, guys, I'm just going to refer to Did you know that people who get obsessed with celebrities, like one specific celebrity, they're absolutely obsessed with it, generally have lower average intelligence? I'm not saying that you guys that are obsessing. I'm not saying that you. But it might be. Yeah. SanDisk. Let's take a look at SanDisk. 677's here. 677's Oracle. I'm in Oracle actually. I hope it goes up, but it's a little volatile. SanDisk reminds me of Supermicro. Yeah, but SanDisk is selling memory. And so SanDisk maybe has, I'm not going to say they have more justification in going up, but, you know, memory is expensive. So SanDisk is, I mean, obviously poised to profit from high memory costs. Now, whether memory stays that high, I hope not. But we'll see. No, y'all are good. I'm not talking about the regulars that tune in. Y'all just like my show. You know, I appreciate you guys. All right, guys. We have about 12, 13 minutes left. If ADP numbers come higher than expected, will the NASDAQ go up or down? ADP, stronger jobs, it's iffy on how it's going to affect markets. I say the market could react well, but I don't think it's an easy gauge. I would say generally the market goes up with strong numbers, and generally the market goes down with weak numbers. What's up, bro? How you doing, dude? Love you, bud. Good day, bro. I love you. First baseman at 5 feet tall, right there. You know, proud of you. I love you. Good job. Do good. Do good. Yeah. Yeah, they got my daughter playing first baseman. She's like 5 feet tall. I told her that's impressive, honestly. The fact that they're like, you know what, you're 5 feet tall, but we're still putting you at first. Impressive. All right, guys. 10 minutes left. 10 minutes. I'm definitely not a celebrity. I'm not famous. I'm not even claiming to be anything like that. My point is, people who get obsessed with other people are generally probably not very smart. You know, either that or they really do not have anything going for them and they're just kind of struggling. You know. ISM data. Interesting. Again, ISM showed up for manufacturing data on Monday, stronger than we've seen in years. The NASDAQ still flushing down here, rejecting right at that 200 exponential moving average, and we have 10 minutes left. So again, NASDAQ flushing down under that 200 exponential moving average. Here, I'm good, paper. I'm not really looking to partner with anybody right now, bro. I'm good. Hey, I resemble that remark. Yeah. I don't know what that means. You look like that remark. Most favorite cook? I'm the cook of Wall Street, bro. That's right. You know. All right, guys. Hey, we have 9 minutes left. 9 minutes. Let's see what we get today. We'll see what we get. Again, this data is expected. Let me put the expectations up for you. Here. Again, I'll put the expectations up. Again, ADP expected. Again, currently ADP is expected. What are they expected at for ADP? I'm showing they're expected at 46K is what I'm showing here. 46,000. Again, so I'm showing ADP jobs are expected at 46K. 46K. Again, I'm showing JOLTS coming out today as well. I don't know if it is. It's expected at 7.23 million. We'll see an ISM manufacturing PMI. Again, we got manufacturing PMI, ISM data, which is the Institute of Supply Management. We got that Monday. And again, it came out at 52.6, way stronger than 48.5 expected, way stronger than the previous reading of 47.9. What does that mean? That means we had much stronger manufacturing data. Over 50 for PMI means an expansion in that sector. Today we have services, so over 50 would mean an expansion in services. Below 50 would mean a contraction in the services sector, and in this instance would have been a contraction in manufacturing. This data showing way stronger than expected shows resilience in manufacturing is what this is. And then today we have services, which is a pretty all-encompassing sector. The services sector is all-encompassing. So today at 10 a.m. that drops as well. And again, that is expected today at 52.5 for January. Previous was 52.5. We'll see if we get a big beat there. Or I'm showing actually 53.5. Again, ADP jobs expected at 46,000. 46,000. Is this a good news is good news or bad news is good news type of thing? Yeah, that's really what we have to look at today. Like, does the market want stronger or weaker jobs right now? Put stronger or weaker in chat. Let me know what you guys think. Stronger or weaker jobs today? I don't know. Again, I think we're somewhere in the middle. I think we're pretty split in terms of doves and hawks. Again, stronger jobs numbers, just to put this in perspective here. Stronger jobs numbers would signal less need to cut rates. And again, with potentially hawkish wash, maybe that's what the market doesn't want. I think the market reacted somewhat negatively to wash, being more hawkish than expected. So I think the market could want weak jobs, but it's never super easy to figure out ahead of the time. We'll have to just wait and see what the market brings. All right, in the chat, I'm showing weaker, 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 strong, weaker, stronger, stronger, weaker, 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 weak. Yeah, so a lot of people think the market wants weaker numbers here. Let's see. Let's see today. We got about 5.5 minutes left here. 5.5 minutes left. We got over 1,100 people here. I appreciate you guys joining me. And I'm going to put it in sub-only mode ahead of this data. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. What does silver want? Oh, man. Silver might want weaker jobs as well, to be honest. Although weaker jobs might mean more easing. But right now, it's only looking like we're going to cut rates twice this year. So, you get ADP employment report coming out 8:15. Bull or bear, guys? Show it up in chat. 60-40. Bulls. Weak job supports the AI narrative and may drive AI stocks despite bad optics. Potentially. We appreciate, though. Turn it up every day. Hey, thank you. Voting on futures here. Big bear. NASDAQ, honestly, guys, is starting to flush still here. Look at the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ, honestly, is still breaking down pretty heavily here. We have 4 minutes left. 4 minutes left. But again, the NASDAQ is pretty weak here. I don't know if this weakness is going to continue, but the NASDAQ, again, fading. Again, gold, silver. Interesting to watch. Here's gold. Gold down. Honestly, I'm watching 5,000 for gold right here. I want to see if it holds. Silver, over $90. And so remember, guys, silver and gold. For gold, there's a tendency to follow the VIX kind of thing, where markets go down, gold goes up. Silver is a little bit different. So high VIX and recession worries can make gold go up. Maybe silver could also go down, or vice versa. So yeah, hey baby, I have economic data. All right. No, I can't do that. I'll show you. All right, I love you. All right, guys, we have 3 minutes left. 3 minutes. Market is looking bearish. Try some people today. Yeah, again, the last ADP report. The last ADP report ended up showing up at, what did they show up at? I think it showed up at 41,000 for January. Or for December, ADP data, jobs data showed 41,000. Again, the ADP employment report generally comes out 2 days ahead of the actual official payroll data, government payrolls, private payrolls, non-farm payrolls. It's used as a predictor for the government's data. But again, sometimes ADP data can be more accurate. We'll see what happens here, though. Bitcoin, again, pretty quiet on the day. Sitting right at 76,000 as we speak for Bitcoin here with about 2 minutes left here. Right around 76K. See what happens. Let's see what happens. Jobs report going live. Again, in about 2 minutes. A lot of folks on the sidelines drooling for these entry points. Good equals good or bad. Doesn't really matter if all the numbers are cooked. Are the ADP numbers cooked? I don't know. I'm always bullish. Market is looking bearish, which means I would DCA. I'll look at AbbVie stock in a second, brother. I got you. Hold on. Just give me a second. I'm going to cover this data first in about a minute and a half. Then I got you. The lower than or higher than 46K is good or bad? Higher than 46,000 would signal a beat. So we get higher than 46,000 would be considered a beat here. Lower than 46,000 would be considered a miss. Again, we have 1 minute left. 1 minute. Again, and some people are saying we have jolts today. At the very least, we have ISM services data. But here we go. I'm showing again expected at 46 to 48,000. I'll put this timer up. Again, the ADP report's about to drop in about 30 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. I appreciate it. I'll put the NASDAQ and maybe silver chart up right now. Here's the NASDAQ right here. See how much it moves. All right, guys, here we go. 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Again, it's expected at around 46 to 48K is what I'm showing here. 46 to 48,000. See. And here's the report right now. 22,000. Very weak jobs data. 22K versus expected 46,000. 22,000 versus expected 46,000. You can see the NASDAQ jump a little bit, but we had weak numbers here. 22,000 versus expected 46,000. The NASDAQ is honestly up a little bit from this data here. Again, 22K versus expected 46K. Previously, it showed up at 41K as well. So pretty weak jobs data relative to expectations, as well as relative to last time. It was weak, but we'll see if the market jumps on this report or not. But again, we did show up weaker than expected. 46K, 22,000. Initial negative reaction. Silver actually jumped a little bit on this. Again, gold is spiking up a little bit on this. But the question is, what does the market want here? Again, the question is, what does the market want? NASDAQ is actually a little green on this report. Again, but here is the data. Again, 22,000. They expected 45K plus here. We'll put this up on screen. Give me a second. We'll put it up on screen. There you go. Yeah, honestly, the NASDAQ actually went up on this report. So the NASDAQ went up. I'm curious to see what yields did. Again, we did have weaker jobs numbers. We showed up at 22,000 versus expected 45K plus jobs. All right, so we did show up stronger or weaker than expected. Why is it? I think the NASDAQ has been down recently, but sometimes the first move is the wrong move. Theories, though, on why the NASDAQ is reacting positively to this job report could be that the market reacted negatively from a potentially more hawkish wash. than expected. And so weak jobs data means more green light to ease. And that is making markets like this data. It's possible that's what markets are doing here. It's possible that's the reason markets are up. But again, previously 41,000. We showed up at 22,000. So way weaker than last time, way weaker than expected. We'll see if we get a reversal on this data here. Again, we'll see if we get a reversal on this data, but way weaker than expected data here. Again, NASDAQ is up from this, actually. So NASDAQ is reacting favorably to this. Like, reacting well to this here. At 22,000, expected 46,000. Previous of 41,000. So we were weaker than last time and weaker than expected. And again, I can show you the actual employment report here from ADP, but again, weaker than expected here. See if the NASDAQ continues to go higher. NASDAQ still climbing at 25.5s. And weaker than expected data. Yeah, we'll go a little bit more in detail into it in a second. But again, ADP data, 22,000. Does the market hold this or reverse here? Again, China is accusing the European Union of hurting Chinese companies' investment confidence. They urges the European Union to, quote, correct the mistake on subsidy probe. And again, let's take a look at yields from this report here. Again, weaker than expected jobs. I'm curious to see what yields are doing right now. Short term. So here's yields. Okay, so yields on the day are red. A slight red. So here's yields right now. Yields, because of weak jobs data, is correcting to the downside. So yields are falling down a little bit, and the NASDAQ, again, is reacting positively to this report. Again, the NASDAQ is reacting positively to this report. Yields are down. Let's see if we actually hold this data. Jobs take priority right now over inflation for rate cut odds unless there's some insane print. Bitcoin doesn't like it. Honestly, Bitcoin should like this report. Bitcoin generally wants more easing, right? So anything that might contribute to more easing is generally good for Bitcoin. But for some reason, again, Bitcoin falling down on this report. You can see Bitcoin here again. Bitcoin falling down on this report for some reason. But again, we do have the ECB policy announcement tomorrow as well. We got Google earnings today. But Bitcoin, again, reacting negatively to this report after ADP jobs cooled here a little bit here. Bitcoin actually wants 60K, safe haven. Yeah, let's take a look at gold and silver here. Gold up a little bit on this report. Here's gold, here's silver. Silver up a little bit on this report as well. So, but yeah, weaker jobs numbers here, guys. Weaker jobs. Yeah, so here's the actual report if you want to see it. Again, 22,000. We can take a look at where it started here. So again, small businesses got a jump. Small businesses gained 30,000 jobs. Or really small businesses. Small to medium businesses lost 30K. So the transition here happened from super small businesses between 1 and 19 employees gained 30,000. Businesses with 20 to 49 employees lost 30K. Mid-sized companies gained 37,000, 40,000. So they gained, mid-sized businesses gained 41,000 jobs. 41,000 jobs. If we're from anywhere between 50 to 500 employees, again, they gained 41,000 jobs on average. And large businesses lost 18,000 jobs overall. The strongest businesses here, though, natural resources and mining were flat. Construction gained 9K. Manufacturing lost 8K. Trade and transportation gained 4,000. Information lost 5K. Financial activities gained 14,000. Businesses and professional services lost 57,000 jobs. So this is some of the bigger jobs. Again, maybe the people are going to say this is the biggest change here. Again, lost 57,000 jobs in professional and business services. So again, maybe that's why we had such weak numbers here, specifically professional and business services. Again, education and health gained 74,000 jobs. Leisure and hospitality gained 4,000, and others lost 13,000. And again, this is ahead of ISM data. We are correcting back to the downside, though, so maybe the first move is the wrong move here for jobs. But yeah, I mean, last time I looked at the odds for rate cuts in March, it was at, I think it was less than 10% the last time I looked at it. Today, it's exactly at 10%, so it's kind of unchanged here. We didn't really get a big change in this. Again, Peter Schiff says China is, quote, too smart to care about Bitcoin. They're buying gold. And China vows to adopt necessary actions to safeguard co-interests. All right, so again, NASDAQ coming back down a little bit here. So look at the NQ. So we are dropping some, and it's been a weak morning already. Again, Bitcoin reacting really negatively here, which is interesting because this should mean more potential easing. Maybe the first move was the wrong move. The wrong move indeed, yes sir. We'll see. NASDAQ coming down to 75.6s here. App loved cooked. Bitcoin's looking rough here. Again, let's see if it holds 75,000 though. Again, there's the jobs report. Again, we showed up at 22,000. Expected 45K, 22,000. Biggest weakness is in professional and business services here. NASDAQ's starting to come back down here though. I kind of want to short this, but we are down pretty freaking heavily on the day here. We are down pretty freaking heavily. Michael Saylor about to get liquidated. We'll be forced to sell Bitcoin for all the debt. Enphase is up. I saw Enphase go up. Yeah, here's the NASDAQ. Probably end up shorting this again, but I'll give it a second. Might short 400 get here, and then you. What I'm looking at, so I might short this level if we get back up to it. Use a tighter risk level. Would love a bearish day on the NASDAQ at the open. VIX is doing nothing. There we go. We're close to this level off short here. Pop back down. We already got a pretty big cushion on the day here, though. Give it a second. All right, so there's a nice little rejection. Let's scalp this move and just take it off right there. I think I should, right? Again, we'll see if we continue to break down from the jobs data, but imagine Saylor buys up $1 billion worth at 70K. We'll see, my friend. We'll see. Saylor's a whale. Obviously, Saylor's a whale. I mean, what's the market cap? Market cap of strategy is almost 40 billion. Be nice if we get a green day. Do you want a red or green day in markets? I'm assuming most people want a green day just because green days means people profit. There's more buyers than shorters generally. The Q will roll over. Look at the weekly. Just shorted silver. And silver up to 90.6 here. Again, this is a combine account that we've been trading, but don't like the risk of some of these moves. Let's see if silver holds over 90. I think $90 is probably a pretty level to watch it right there. Pre-tariff inventory gone. Let's see what awaits. Hey, thank you for the donation, brother. I appreciate it. Red. Who wants to buy an asset if one person holds it all? Red. Looks like most people want pullbacks in markets here. And here's my 400 level that we had. Maybe I should have shorted it longer term. Investors are scared. I think that's probably true. I think they're just nervous. I think people are nervous about buying right now. So I think people are just skeptical and nervous about buying. All markets are overbought. Silver breakout soon in 15 minutes. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Again, ADP jobs did cool a little bit. We posted 22,000 jobs. Okay, we'll see what the ISM data shows as well. We have ISM services data at 10 o'clock. See what that looks like. That's the next big release today. And again, we will be streaming that, of course. That's the next big one. Justified to be nervous. He has like 1% of the supply drama. But the current euphoric sentiment in AI circular financing is making me nervous. I think it's making a lot of people nervous as well. And I think we're seeing stricter reactions. Again, I talked about this earlier. AMD released earnings yesterday afternoon. All right, AMD beat EPS, so beat margins. They're making good money, and they went up in terms of how much money they're making versus expectations and EPS margins. They beat revenue, so how much money they're bringing in increased, higher than expected. And they raised their guidance. So they projected them to do better than previously expected moving forward. Even with those things, AMD is down a pretty big percentage from all of it. And again, what we're seeing is more stricter reactions to earnings, especially in AI, tech, and microchips. We're seeing more strict reactions, especially again in microchip companies. So again, is it time to buy AMD? I don't know. AMD, if you look at the last 12 months, it was at about $110 12 or 13 months ago. Now at $230 something, or $220 right now after their earnings. But prior to their earnings report, it was at $240s, $250s. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. AMD more than tripled its stock value in a few months. Yeah, it's up a lot. It's up a lot. AMD dropped because traders are just being more strict in regards to earnings. They're just being more strict. So again, according to Iran's ISNA news agency, apparently we're having nuclear talk. They're having nuclear talks with the United States on Friday in Oman, which is the format for it is similar to previous rounds. And again, U.S. envoy Witkoff and Iran's foreign minister Araghi is going to take part in the talks, apparently. So again, we can take a look at oil to see how oil's reacting to this. Oil generally pushes up the more instability we have in the Middle East and moves down with more stability. So we are seeing some drops here. But again, oil was at 50s a couple weeks ago. So oil's back up to 63s right now, showing some relief in oil. Yeah, and again, a lot of people are also talking about software slumps. Again, there's been a sharp rotation out of software and specifically into AI and chips with S&P Software Services Index. Again, you can look at this index right here. You can look at XSW to see software ETF basically. And if you look at a chart of the last 10 days here in software, we've seen a noticeable slump. This is software right here. Again, a noticeable decline in software percentage-wise. So again, a lot of people are worried about a software slump specifically. Software as a services is the sector that's in trouble. A lot of people say growth has deaccelerated every quarter since 2021 for SaaS, which is software as a service. Again, the AI narrative finally gave the market permission to re-rate them lower. And again, one of the reasons people are worried about this specifically is AI makes it incredibly easy to create software. Incredibly easy to create software. You can create software much easier than you previously could. Again, I from a programmer myself, it's very difficult to create different applications that you don't have experience with. It takes time. You have to do testing. You got to stay on Stack Overflow. It's just not, it wasn't historically easy to create software. At least it definitely wasn't as easy. Today, if you get an error, you can just post it into AI, and there's some AI systems that will just give you the right answer very, very quickly, immediately. So you basically have like the best mentor you can in software right next to you with AI. And so it makes it much easier to produce, create software. But because of that, it kind of dilutes it a little bit. And software value, because of that, software companies who produce software, dilution's happening now where we're seeing anybody can produce software now. We're seeing some corrections in those companies, what we're seeing. So that's another one of the stories regarding software. Again, the U.S. Treasury apparently is going to sell $58 billion in 3-year notes, $42 billion in 10-year notes, $25 billion in 30-year bonds next week as part of the $125 billion refunding through April of this year, raising $34.8 billion in new cash. U.S. Treasury says cuts in bill auction sizes will likely lead to decline in net bill supply by $250 to $300 billion by early May of this year. They say TGA account could peak around $1.025 trillion by late April. So, again, we'll see what happens. But yeah, software slumping down a little bit. Here's the NASDAQ. Should have stayed in that short at 400, but we're kind of just sideways here. We do have ISM data today, though. We do have ISM data. When a team of 10 can be replaced with just a team of 1, 200%. Going all in on Silver Valley. Hey, what's up, Treff? How you doing, brother? What about Marvell? Honestly, I made a lot of Marvell swing trading it, and then I got out. Can't remember where I got in this thing. I feel like I got into it in November is when I got into it on this big run, and then I sold into this run here for Marvell. I don't think it was a big position, though. But I got out of Marvell just in time, it looks like, because why swing trade? All right, so there's Marvell. A daily chart. Yeah, so I got in Marvell here. I'm looking at my trades for Marvell. I got in Marvell at $63 a share. Honestly, this is a great trade. Small trade, but great trade nonetheless. Easy money. I got in Marvell at $63 a share, even almost. I got into Marvell. It was in September when I got into it, actually. I got into Marvell, $63 a share right here. Right here. I got in right here, and I sold at $75 a share right around here. So I made money all the way up to here. I kind of scaled out along the way. I took some off here, I took some off here, I took some off here. And then I got out. And honestly, I could have held much higher, but hindsight's 2020. Like, it ended up going up to 108s, but it's back down to 75 right now, so I'll take the green movement. Why you say it like it's French is because previously when I did this trade, people corrected me. I would say Marvel because, superheroes. It's not the same company, though. But they would say, you know what, John, it's not Marvel, it's Marvell. Now I know. All right, guys. Looking up news. Again, the president and Chinese President Xi held a call according to Chinese state media. That's good, I think. Look at silver come down here. Let's see if the NASDAQ is actually moving at all, though, now. NASDAQ's still falling here. We had jobs data. Initially, we went up from the jobs data. Now we're actually still heading down here. So again, we initially reacted positively to jobs. Now we're kind of weak here. Senate hits deal funding, so like the market will see. Yeah, but that news happened already. It was probably like futures opened up yesterday. The government's back open, right? So the government's back open today. But I think futures already reacted to it. President signed it yesterday, so government's back open. Please speak German. I don't understand English. Dude, the only thing I know how to say in German is curse words. You know, so. Sorry, brother. Wednesday? Yeah, we have ISM data today. So we do have ISM data. Again, one of the things that didn't react well, which is kind of shocking to me, but Bitcoin did not react well to jobs being weak. You would think Bitcoin wants easy. So Bitcoin wants rate cuts. Weaker jobs means maybe greater chance of rate cuts. In turn, Bitcoin reacts positively, but sometimes it's not that easy to make money. But again, Bitcoin, very clearly, the jobs data showed up, just to put this into perspective, jobs data showed up here. Literally right there is where the jobs data showed up as. Bitcoin said, no, I don't like it. 22,000 jobs, weaker than 46,000 expected, weaker than the 41,000 previously for ADP. But again, Bitcoin falling down here. Yeah, I had a friend travel to Berlin. He said Berlin was really cool. He went to Switzerland. He said Switzerland was really cool. No, maybe it was Sweden that he went to. We have time on the next bout of news. Yeah, ISM PMI data drops at 10 a.m. Or ISM, yeah, services PMI data drops at 10 a.m. The question is, guys, is it time to buy Uber here? Again, Bitcoin breaking down. Is it time to buy Uber? It was. I thought Uber was gapping down. You know, honestly, I hadn't even looked at it. Last time I saw Uber, it was like right here. And I was going to say, is it time to buy Uber at $73 a share? Apparently, that would have been correct because now Uber's up to $80 a share. Now technically green on the day. It's too late. So I'm going to change my nickname to Too Late. I'm sure the president will like that. But too late on it, apparently. It was time to buy Uber, and now Uber's up. Again, not an investment professional, though, guys. I'm not liable if you lose money. Make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. Ask my opinion. Do not buy anything. We get a correction first. Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. John the procrastinator. I know. Listen. That's definitely true. But again, look at Uber. Flying up right now. Look at Uber right here. I can weatherman it. Right here. I wanted to buy it down there. You know. Just didn't catch it in time. Less jobs is never good for the market. Honestly, sometimes it actually is. Never is a strong word. Sometimes less job is good for markets. In a market that's fearful of aggressive restriction and interest rates, weak jobs can be good for markets. And I've seen the market react positively to weaker jobs. Although in this context, it's not really easy. I don't recommend buying anything. I'm not an investment professional. And again, I have the luxury that I can sit on PayPal long enough to where I'm not really super concerned about it. But other people might not have that luxury. And so I'm not telling you to buy anything. PayPal PE ratio is very low. I don't mind sitting on it long term. Because I think if we do get microchips correcting, it's kind of like a hedge trade. If we do get microchips correcting, I think PayPal and other companies might benefit from it. But other non-chip tech companies like that might benefit from it. But I think AI's or PayPal's also dropping down because of the software slump that we're in right now too. But again, I'm green on the day on it. We'll see what happens. PayPal, yeah. February is historically a flat to bearish month, but on the NASDAQ daily seen an uptrend, but still in a wide range. No breakouts. Yeah. If you don't like power, you're going to hate wash. You mean wash? Not wash, it's wash. W-A-R-S-H. Friend. If you were going to make a video game, what type would it be? Again, I'm a Halo player. I like Halo. Call of Duty is cool, but I'm a Halo player, bro. That's my favorite video game of all time. That and Legend of Zelda, probably. Ocarina of Time. I'm old. Again, the Washington Post apparently is beginning widespread round of layoffs, according to the New York Times. Spot silver up to over 91s, at least it was. It's back down to 95, but silver's pushing up a little bit here. Again, Bitcoin is still tumbling down right now. Here's Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is still falling down here. 75. I'm watching the 75 even level, though. 75 even seems like a level. So I'm watching that, but man. I have friends that play Overwatch, and so I'll begrudgingly play it. But it's not my favorite game. I'm not really good at it. It's too nuanced. You got to put the work in, and I haven't put the work in for Overwatch. You got people running around with like Genji or whatever his name was, and they're just kind of like flinging around, like, you know. I just can't handle that. Tesla? Is Tesla pushing up? Tesla up to 420s right now, so Tesla is making a move on the upside here. Again, Tesla popping up. Bitcoin's still falling here. Again, the NASDAQ itself, it's kind of flat. Hasn't really moved here. Pretty sideways range now. But again, Bitcoin did not like the jobs data. Again, jobs data showed up here for Bitcoin, and it's starting to fall back down. At the same time, though, silver. Oh, you're not going to give me silver? Okay. Yeah, silver has been pushing up, but it's starting to creep back down a little bit. Again, jobs data for silver came out here. All right, so silver's net green from the jobs data as well here. Again, gold negatively turning here over the last 5 or 10 minutes for gold. So gold's turning back down. Or layoffs, who could have guessed? Any major earnings today? We have Google earnings after the closing bell. So again, Google earnings after the closing bell today. Tomorrow we have, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow we have Amazon earnings after the close. So Google earnings today after the closing bell. Amazon earnings later on. Hey guys, we did just get this tweet here. So we did get a breaking tweet. And this is a tweet that might move markets. We got a breaking news tweet. Let me see if I can zoom in. Again, breaking news here. Breaking news. The software decline seems overdone to me at this time, according to Jim Cramer about a minute ago. Is this a bull sign here? Or this is the biggest bear sign of the century for software. Again, Jim Cramer. Software decline seems overdone to me at this time. End quote, Jim Cramer. I don't know if that's good for my PayPal here. I don't know if it's good for my PayPal. Jim Cramer bullish on software. Kind of scared now, to be honest here. Let's see. I hope he's right. I don't have confidence in that, but I hope he's right. Jim Cramer thinks the software slump could be overdone. Eli Lilly also posted earnings today, guys. Eli Lilly, LLY. Up to almost $1,100 a share for Eli Lilly. So look at Eli Lilly. They're flying up as well here. Again, their CEO speaking right on the earnings call. He says the company will invest heavily in research and development, focused extending beyond obesity drugs. But again, the U.S. president and the Chinese president did hold a call, according to Chinese state media. PayPal is such a loser. Hurts, man. It's just so cheap. Like, look, the PE ratio of PayPal. And again, I'm not telling you to buy it. PE ratio of PayPal. What? 10 to 11? Forward PE's 9 to 9.2. It's very good. Very good. PayPal. And so again, I'm not telling you to buy it. Look at the NASDAQ slump down here. NASDAQ down to 25,360s. The NASDAQ is slumping down here. Okay, let's see if I can figure out why this is happening. Again, we do have Google earnings, Alphabet earnings today. I think it's microchips related. Here's NVIDIA. Again, NVIDIA is slumping down now, 180s. NASDAQ is falling down with it. I think this is NVIDIA and microchip related. Is AMD falling with it? Yes, it is. So AMD, other microchip companies like NVIDIA, bumping down here. We're at 25,361s right now, 25,361s. Again, Bitcoin specifically, weak. Under 75,000. And the biggest question I have is this Jim Cramer's fault somehow? Yeah, I'm looking at other news, but I don't see anything big. I think it's just a turn. Could be a delayed response. Yeah, it could be a delayed response. Again, Washington Post apparently beginning a widespread round of layoffs, according to the New York Times. Cramer did this? Yeah, hey, maybe. Listen, maybe. Look at Bitcoin, though, guys. We're at 75,000. I do want to see if we bounce here. I do want to see if we bounce. Maybe we do. Crash of 2026, the Cramer crash. Here comes the AI Army oil reports today. Yeah, it does. Again, we might have jolts. The rumor I heard is that we might get jolts today. I can't tell. I think what it really is, that the reason a lot of people are making rumors about jolts coming out is that because I think a lot of these platforms, what they do is they, if something's scheduled to come out today and they don't really know why it didn't, they just kind of push it to the next day, right? And so I think some of these economic calendars that you see scheduling these things, if it didn't come out yesterday like it was supposed to for jolts because the government was shut down, they just pushed it to the next day, which would be today. But we do not have an official announcement by the Bureau of Labor Statistics regarding when we're actually going to get the JOLTS job openings report. It was scheduled to come out yesterday, but the government was shut down. The government is back up and running today, but I do not think we're going to have JOLTS today, personally. Now, if you got a different argument for why you think it's coming out today, let me know. But at the very least, at 10 a.m., we do have ISM services. And again, ISM manufacturing, look at the NASDAQ, guys. NASDAQ down to 25.3s here. So maybe a delayed response to jobs. But the NASDAQ is falling. All right, we're at 25,350s on the NQ. So maybe we're bouncing back. But again, over the last few minutes, we've seen microchips pull back extensively here. Again, if AMD had earnings, Broadcom is the Uncle Sam of AI, says Futurum equities of non-AI Mag 7 disruptors. Look at AVGO. AVGO is moving. All right, so microchips bouncing back a little bit here. NASDAQ is still kind of weak here, though. Look at the NASDAQ. I want to short this bounce. We did a poll here. We're covering all this stuff. We're covering silver, gold. Here's silver. Silver's up to 91.50s right now. So silver's pumping. Gold up to almost $5,100 an ounce. Looks like it was a pullback to even on the futures now. Pop, maybe. Yeah, some of you guys are a little behind. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it 2x speed. You'll always be caught up to the stream. We appreciate it. Yeah, I looked at the software index. Again, this is tech sector. But yeah, software stocks. Here's another example of it. I looked at a different ETF for software, but this is what it looks like here as well. Again, the one I looked at is XSW for software. And yeah, you can see a similar thing. This is just a big move down for software over the last week. So software companies have gotten hit for sure. Will they bounce back? Is it time to buy software? Again, I would say the innate problem with software is that AI is going to make producing your own software, and it has already done this, but AI has made, I should say, past tense, it's made the production of software and related things way easier. Way easier. So what does that mean for software companies? That means they're going to have more competition. There's more dilution in companies. There's more competition. And because of that, people are basically getting baked into that sentiment regarding software. They're a little bit more, margins might get worse, more competition, more software out there, dilution. So that's kind of what's going on with software right now. AI disrupting it. Yeah, again, this is a software ETF. You can see the big moves down for software. Just kind of rough. Again, here's silver and gold. Silver's climbing higher, filling some of this gap. Here's the big crash silver made from 120 down to 70. Back up to 90 plus now. And I think $100 is the big level for silver. And again, people sometimes get mad when I say this. And I tell them this, look. I taught myself how to program. I taught myself React, JavaScript, React Native. I don't like the fact that AI can make people produce software without knowing how to code, Of course I don't like that. But the reality of it is that's what's happening. And you got to call a spade a spade. You got to look at it objectively. And that's what's happening. Is that software is much easier to produce because of that. Software companies that rely on people buying their software instead of creating their own, there's worsening outlook for those. And I think that makes sense. I think it makes sense. Yeah, I'm looking at silver $100. I want to see if silver can creep up there. If we start to really get a run at the opening bell, silver could easily hit 100 today. If we start to really go on a run, considering the moves that silver's made over the last month or two. Yeah, software is more accessible. But because of that, if everybody can build a television at home, just as an analogy, if I could build a TV at home, why would I buy a TV from somebody else? If I could build a TV easily at home, why would I buy a TV from somebody else? If I can produce a product at home, why would I go to somebody else and buy that product? And that's why software companies are down. Because AI makes it really, really easy to produce your own software now. No, AI 100% makes you a better programmer. Again, I used to go on Stack Overflow when I had a problem. It would take me sometimes weeks to figure out what I was doing wrong, with big projects. Now I can ask AI, get an answer to exactly what I'm doing wrong. It'll show me exactly the line that I messed up. It'll show me exactly why I messed it up. It'll fix my spaghetti code. It'll do all these different things in about 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds. And so because of that, it's really easy to, ironically, it's really easy to learn programming right now. You can teach yourself to program real quick right now. You got your own mentor, AI mentor. That's not how it was when I learned. But because of that, again, you're going to see a lot more software out there on the market. People can produce it easy. They can learn to code. They can produce it even. They don't even have to learn to code. to be fair, it's probably much easier to learn anything right now. Not just software and programming. It's much easier to learn anything. Again, Peter Schiff said China is too smart to care about Bitcoin. They're buying gold, he says. Among the oldest Gen Zers, 38% own homes. 43% of their parents at the same age owned homes, according to Redfin. Again, AI will affect about 60% of jobs in advanced economies and 40% globally per the IMF. Again, over 70% of licensed realtors didn't sell a single home last year per the NAR, the National Association of Realtors. I have a license, but it's not active. So I don't actually use my real estate license. All right, guys, NASDAQ at 91.5s. Again, gold at 50.83s. Software is bad now, and AI learned from that software. New software will be worse. Oh, it's definitely going to be worse for sure, right? But that'll get better over time. You can build a PC at home, but people still buy it. No, for sure, but I'll put it this way. It's easy to create your own software. It doesn't mean people are not going to buy software from other companies because, again, the ease is what gravitates people towards that. But what will change is the rate people pay for that software, right? Like the cost of getting software is going to go down because it's easier for others to create it, right? There's dilution. And so people will still buy, license, use software as a service, but the rates are going to go down. The margins are going to get worse. There's going to be more competition. So naturally, the rate people pay for software is going to decrease because of more competition for a lot of different reasons. For better ease of use and for ease of access, I should say. And more competition. It's going to make the prices we pay go down. Again, silver ripping, gold's ripping, NASDAQ tumbling. And again, the ADP jobs report did show up today. Biggest weakness in jobs, specifically on this ADP report, 57,000 down in professional and business services. Again, 57,000 jobs down in professional and business services. So maybe software might be included in that, guys. 57,000. Again, looking at the NASDAQ here, and again, looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin did not react well, and it has fallen down pretty much consistently since this labor report came out, which is kind of backwards to how a lot of people thought, including myself. Again, ADP jobs report. Let me fix it. Always changes my time. Yeah, ADP jobs report showed up. Just to put this into perspective, the ADP jobs report showed up here for Bitcoin. So ADP jobs showed up right there. And again, for whatever reason, Bitcoin did not like this at all. And again, we'll see what happens moving forward. That's a great poem. Damn, great poem. Senators push $70 billion funding deals. Yeah. Yeah, so Sander Von, I can't even pronounce this. The CEO of the world's largest recruitment firm told Fortune that the classic path of college followed by desk work is fading. He recommends grads retrain for in-demand trades like mechanical engineering, machine operation, and truck driving, or hospitality jobs, is what he said. Okay. But if you go to college, why would you drive a truck? Why would you get why would you pay for college if you're just going to drive a truck? Machine operation as well. Why would you go to college? I mean, I get it, but having a college degree is better than not having one. But if you're just going to drive a truck, you don't really need it. What is he talking about? Yeah. Again, one of my favorite quotes is from The Big Short. Regarding Sam's poem, it goes like this. The truth is like poetry, and most people effing hate poetry. One of my favorite quotes. Those jobs will go away with AI and robotics. Some of them for sure. Yeah. Some of them definitely will, but... Alright guys, we still got a couple minutes left. We do have 25,000 getting retested. And here's gold and silver. Gold and silver making a run back. Gold's kind of more flat. Silver's actually making a little run here. Yeah, hospitality is the one that confused me. What do you mean, like managing a hotel? That's a tough job, bro. Yeah. Yeah, private companies did only gain 22,000 jobs. Expected 46,000. They only gained 22,000. We saw the biggest contraction in jobs, about 57,000 in business and professional services. Amazon said they could use customized OpenAI models for Alexa, according to the information. Again, so they discussed special access to OpenAI tech, according to the information. You may be entering into an age of abundance. Work is optional. Yeah, it really depends on where you live, right? So like I hear people be like, "Oh, I make 100,000." Like 100,000 in California is not that much. You know, 100,000 in New York is not that much. You know, you make 100,000 in Texas or Louisiana. That's a decent amount, but it's not a crazy amount either. Yeah, let's look at natural gas here. So we have seen natural gas make a big pop because of the winter storm, but it's corrected back down. But look at it pop back up again. NG today, NG futures. Back up to 340s right now as we speak, up to 340s. Again, microchips making some corrections today. Nvidia back down under 180 a share. Under 180 a share for Nvidia here. AMD had earnings yesterday. Again, they're still pretty weak here, to be honest. Nvidia technically red. Alphabet has earnings after the closing bell today. Yeah, I've never really been a natural gas trader. I'm not really one to 100,000 in Florida isn't much either. Never thought I'd say that 5 years ago. It's pretty good. Yeah, I mean it's still not bad. I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's not the flex it was 5 or 10 years ago. Like, ooh, I make 100,000. It's like, yeah, well, you're kind of average right now. No offense, you know, but that's just the truth. Yeah, I'm gonna cover Google. I'll cover Google today. We'll see what it looks like. But yeah, I'll cover it. So silver, again, I'm green on the day here. We'll see if we continue the green. But again, jobs were weak in the report. Jobs were weak. Again, 22,000 jobs, expected 46K. Job creation took a step back in 25. Private employees adding 398K jobs, down from 771 in the previous year. While we've seen a continuous and dramatic slowdown in job creation for the past 3 years, wage growth has remained stable. Again, the businesses that struggled the most specifically were professional and business services, down 57,000 a month. So again, here's silver, guys. Look at silver. Hit 92 an ounce in silver futures. Big run for silver. I'm looking to see if it makes a parabolic move up to 100 or something. Is United Health looking like a buy? I don't know, man. We'll see. Again, what I am looking at is yields. And yields did end up spiking a little bit, just, you know. So we'll see what yields do. The yields up to almost 4.3% right now, 4.3. Again, silver tapped 92s right here. You can look at silver. AMD pulling back down. NASDAQ has been back and forth, but we have seen the NASDAQ start to slump over the last 5 minutes here on the NQ. Yeah, it could be AI replacement causing these big drops from previous years. Okay, so we do see some news that the White House border czar, Oman, said they have made significant progress on increasing coordination between state and local officials and ICE. Again, Amazon is going to be open to adopting OpenAI models for Alexa. That news came out. And Amazon drops earnings tomorrow afternoon. The report starts 26 off on basically the same note where 25 ended a lackluster job market in a low high or low fire environment. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a week. Labor's week. Again, the argument is, should we cut rates more than twice this year? Chat. Should we cut rates more than twice? Let me know. I don't know. I think we could. It depends on what the labor market does, and it depends on what happens with payrolls. We're supposed to get payrolls Friday. But again, I think those days, unless they change it back because the government resumed yesterday, unless they change it back, we'll see what happens. See what happens. But we're supposed to get payrolls Friday. We are no longer getting payrolls Friday. I don't think. Cut 5 times. Yes, cut more than 10 times. 10-year yields have remained above 4.2% since the 16th of January. The market's weak. Software's weak. Corrections. Fears of tech overvaluations. But again, just to put this into perspective, in the last 12 months, I think we've only had like 5 or 6 days where the S&P has gone down over. Let me look this up to make sure this is true. But this is a stat I heard is that the S&P or the NASDAQ only dropped over 1% for 5 or 6 days in the last 12 months. And so it's not like I think people are used to the market going up right now, and it doesn't mean it's going to keep going up. Checking this now. The exact count depends on where people are quoting. A recent volatility study noted that in the back half of 2025, there were only 6 trading days where the S&P moved at least 1% or more versus a historical norm of 20 plus for that period. It also highlighted entire months, July and September of last year, with no 1% days at all. The realized volatility has been compressed, especially over the last 6 months, but over the last 12 months as well. Yeah, crypto, again, down today. Bitcoin down. Although we are back over 75 for Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin is over 75,000 right now. So. Amazon has AI built into the search. Yeah. NASDAQ is on the way to 24,000, John. Maybe. We'll see. Again, everybody always thinks we're gonna get these big corrections. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just gonna wait. Like, one of the things that I think destroys a lot of traders, especially with longer term outlooks, is that they try to short the market. They get wrapped up in this big short thesis, like, oh, we're gonna go down, we're gonna go down, and maybe they're right, but the edge is pretty low in attacking that. You know, I know the big short romanticizes it, but they get wrapped up in like shorting, and then the NASDAQ and the S&P do what the NASDAQ and S&P do, which is go up over time, and then they just kind of get beat up, and then they scream manipulation, or they get upset about it. And I'm not saying that's you or anybody. I don't really know. Maybe you're right. Maybe we do drop down to 24,000. I'm not going to try to short it, though. I'm not going to try to jump in on that. It's just too risky, and the longer you hold it, the less likely you are to make money with a short position like that. You know, if you sit on it for long term, you're, you know, even if we do go down and you're underwater with stuff like that. Again, I'm not an investment professional. Do not copy me. But even if we do go down, in most things, and I'm going to say most because it's definitely not everything. In most things, you can wait, and within years, you're going to go back green again. You know, the people who lose the most in crashes are generally people who get emotional and nervous and sell on the pullbacks, versus people who either average in or DCA, and they usually do the best. Again, I don't remember who the quote was, but the time to buy is when blood is running in the streets. It might be Rothschild. One of the Rothschilds might have said that. I don't know. But yeah, you know, I try not to get emotional and sell, but of course I do sometimes. Yeah, well, quantum's different. Quantum, again, new sector. Really, really early in the technology. You know, not really feasible yet. And so people were buying this on hope. And yeah, I mean, obviously it pulled back a lot. It made some crazy runs, though. Was it Buffett? Okay, it was Buffett, yeah. Yeah, quantum has gotten beat up, dude. But again, it's so early with quantum computers that it's hard to figure out, you know, what's going to go on. It's so early. So early. I don't want to see the NASDAQ at 24K because it's a bad, but I see someone. Only advice I want to give: if you're in a trade, you can always... this is not me. I'm not an investment professional. I don't give out advice, guys. Only advice... but this is Corey saying, only advice I want to give: if you're in a trade, you can always buy a stock and go long on the SQ. That way, on the red days, you can cover the loss. So, yeah, hedge. Yeah, that might work. I thought 20 and 25 were a real steal at Rigetti and QBTS. Again, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I have no idea what you should do. Quantum's too early of a sector. It's too new of a sector. But they might be long-term. Short-term, I don't freaking know, though. Short-term, they can go to 10. Long-term, they probably will be over that, in my opinion. But I don't freaking know. But it's still really early. And again, quantum's useful. It seems useful. It seems interesting. You know, superposition seems interesting. You know, computers process things in order. And so quantum processing things simultaneously with superposition. And because of that, they're able to just solve things much faster, do a lot of stuff much faster and much more efficiently. It seems good. It seems useful. But again, incredibly fragile, error-ridden, still really freaking early. Money flowed in a little bit too quickly to quantum, I think. And so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that's the story. Again, NASDAQ still pulling back a little bit. And NASDAQ down at 25. Breeze. We've had a pretty steep downward trend all morning. You forgot the but, Blaze. Quantum seems good, but, you know, there's always a but. I follow price action. Oh, good. All in on quantum per John. Listen. People are talking about BTC via EIA creation. Market will go up, down, or sideways. No, it definitely will. Yeah, my prediction today is that the market might go up, down, or sideways. Quantum will be good, but just got to find its use case and profitability first. Yeah, like I said, we're still really, really early. It might be big. A lot of these stocks might be over the levels, depending on how deep into the future you look, but it's still freaking early. So. All right, guys. Hey, we got 12 minutes left until market open. We're going to day trade live. See what we get, but we are going to day trade live. Where is my... BLS updated us on the government shutdown. We'll get an update from him sometime today. Getting yields up still. Bitcoin's rebounding back ahead of the open, so that's good. Here's silver. Silver went up to 92 even, and this is why I like whole dollar numbers. Look at 90. I know it's hindsight. Look at 92. We rejected directly off of it. Oh. Again, we do have ISM manufacturing, or no, I'm sorry, ISM services data at 10 o'clock today, guys. ISM services, 10 a.m. See what we get. What's your opinion on how price might react to Google earnings today? I think I like Alphabet earnings, but I don't know if we're gonna go up or down, obviously. But I think Alphabet, considering the diversity of sectors in their company, might be more resilient than other pure microchip plays or pure, AI plays. I think obviously Alphabet is AI, and I think they need a beat and raise scenario like every other tech company right now. But I think maybe they'll be more resilient. I don't know. If Alphabet reacts negatively to earnings, we could get this, fearful market. Like it could kickstart like a really worried market. Again, Ford US F-Series pickup truck sales fell 18% in January. Total electric vehicle sales down 25%. Buy when there's blood in the streets, even if it's your own. Yeah. And so people always, I saw that last time. People always leave out the second half of that quote. I'm not saying he's saying to average down, and I'm definitely not saying that. But he definitely was saying that. All right, guys. Quantum is simultaneously over and under hyped. Yeah, it just depends on how long, what the time frame you're looking at it under. At current prices, it's definitely a little, at least it was over hyped. But long term, maybe it's underhyped. It depends on how good it gets, depends on how efficient it gets, depends on how useful it gets. Shorting Bitcoin? No, I'm not shorting Bitcoin. All right, guys. 10 minutes to the open. Again, bullish or bearish for the opening? About 55% say they're bullish. 45% say they're bearish for the open. Let's see. AI data centers in space. Yeah. I saw that. Vance says U.S. Trade Representative Jameson will present specifics about the trade agreement on critical minerals. Wolf calls NVIDIA valuation very attractive, says NVIDIA stock is compelling again, fundamentals intact despite recent consolidations. Vance says many countries have already signed on to the plan regarding J.D. Vance saying that the U.S. is proposing a trading block for critical minerals. He said the U.S. will establish a system creating price floors for critical minerals, proposing a trading block for critical minerals. Again, senators and self-driving companies are urging Congress to pass robotaxi legislation, warning of competitive worries from China. Current administration pulled 700 agents from Minneapolis immediately, apparently. Yeah, so again, here's silver. We are going to day trade some futures at the opening bell. We'll see what we get. But 8 minutes. Again, we got ISM services. $10 a.m. All right, guys. So again, we are going to be trading at the opening bell in about 6 minutes. ISM services data comes out at 10, and we do have another ISM services print at 9:45. Although I don't think it's going to move markets like that. So we'll see. But again, ISM services. We'll see how it moves markets. I don't know. The regular manufacturing PMI from Monday was stronger than we've seen in years for manufacturing data. So. CrowdStrike is at a pretty critical support. I haven't looked at CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike is probably going to be seen as software. Yeah, I mean, software slump. What this is. CrowdStrike. In Bitcoin. Bouncing back up, though. Let's watch 75K for Bitcoin. It's close to it. Again, here's silver at the opening bell. We're looking at silver. And how has microchips responded? I know Nvidia was down pretty big. And Nvidia sitting right at 180s. AMD earnings are going to be interesting to watch as well. Or AMD reaction after earnings yesterday is going to be interesting. Maybe we'll get some volatility there. There's the NASDAQ on the right. Yeah, Bitcoin a little rough. Sure. All right, guys, here we go. Opening bell in 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Again, ISM services. $10 a.m. What's your favorite thing to buy right now? Yeah, good luck today. A little whippy. 3 minutes left until the opening bell. Let me know what your favorite thing to buy is. We've got some news coming out today. We had ISM data. Jobs data was weak. Natural gas futures are up. Let's see. Again, at 9:45 we have regular services PMI, and then at 10 a.m. we have ISM PMI. Yeah, hit the like button. Bitcoin mass adoption. DZ stoke these fires. Apple's interesting. Apple safe. Good luck. Wishing all the best. Hey, thank you. Few puts. So you're a bear, huh? Alphabet earnings today. We'll see what Alphabet does after the opening bell, though. Again, AMD down significantly. Microchips down. NASDAQ. Look at AMD, guys, ahead of the opening bell, though. Whoa. Look at AMD. AMD's falling right now. Look at AMD dip. This. Could be the market on open influencing things, but man, look at that drop. Chip weakness. Here we go, guys. We got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes. All right, here we go. NASDAQ actually rebounding back up a little bit. We'll look at silver too. Again, silver currently sitting at 91. Roughly 91. We got a minute and a half left until the opening bell. Got my Apple calls. By the dips. Rate of it is down. Is it really? All right, guys. 1 minute left. 1 minute. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. We have 1 minute left here. Yeah, 1 minute. All right, guys. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. PayPal just dropped. Went red on the day. NASDAQ's actually green. Here we go. 20 seconds, guys. 20 seconds. All right, here we go. 215s here on AMD. We're going to watch microchips at the open. We're also going to pay attention to silver and gold, though, and see what kind of swings they make. Bitcoin, again, sitting right around 75K. There's the opening bell here. All right, look at AMD bounce back. NASDAQ's tumbling down, though, at the open here. So far, at least, down to 25,350s here on the NASDAQ. 25,350s. Again, if that was delayed, hit the live button next to the play button. We do have ISM services today and regular services PMI today. But again, chip weakness, market correction weakness. Look at this weakness showing up. Again, AMD cracked lows. NASDAQ turned down here at the opening bell. Again, Canada PMI just came out. EVs are kind of weak today too, man. We saw some weakness in numbers. Not for stocks necessarily, but we did see weakness in numbers. Again, AMD down to 211s, 212s. NASDAQ cracked lows, still breaking down here. Look at these drops. Yeesh. A little early, but still. Not small. Not small. Again, Bitcoin starting to tumble down here with everything else as well. Yeah, so Bitcoin falling, AMD down. Again, Nvidia helping drive this move. It's down to 178s. NASDAQ just fell, though. NASDAQ down under 25, 260s. NASDAQ is falling here. So far, a pretty bloody red open. Silver's correcting, too. Again, here's silver. Then we're down to the 200 exponential. Let's see if we bounce there. All right, chat. You'll see it a very red open right now. Very red open. We are going to day trade this. We got to wait about a minute or so left. What a drop here. NASDAQ here, chat. Look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is tumbling down here with microchip weakness is what this is. Again, NVIDIA, AMD both falling after the opening bell. Yeah, PayPal's down a little bit. Again, I'm just going to leave it alone. It's a small position, and I can usually just sit on it long enough. Super low PE. I think it'll bounce eventually, but it might take some time, so I'm just going to try to ignore the drops. Yeah, here's the NASDAQ here, guys. Pretty red open, but we are starting to pop back up here. And here's NVIDIA on the left and the NASDAQ on the right. Yeah, I'm actually, like, even with PayPal down, I'm still net green. I'm in Home Depot. So I'm in Home Depot right now, and Home Depot is up to 380. So my average price is 375, so I'll probably take a little bit off of this for Home Depot. Even though it's kind of a hedging position. A little bit off there. Gonna film me here? Come on. There we go. Alright. Again, NVIDIA is still testing the low of the day here. 177s for NVIDIA. NASDAQ's kind of following it down. Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin's down. NASDAQ is down. Bitcoin's looking weaker than a lot of stuff, though. Look at Bitcoin. Again, the NASDAQ's kind of bouncing back. All right, we can finally trade. Try to short some of this movement here. Definitely a risky position here. I'm just going to see if the bear get up. Might add some to this. Go. We're gonna take some off here. Or we'll take that off too. Give a little bit more time. There we go. I'm gonna cut it right there on that breakdown. You'll love to see a pretty good trade. See if we hold. Again, we do have services PMI coming out. Yeah, Bitcoin's starting to pop back up a little bit with the rest of the NASDAQ here. Let's see if this holds. ENPH, 37%. Is it really up that much? Let's see. I know it's green this morning. Yeah, look at ENPH, guys. Wow. ENPH is pumping up. All right, so my benefit, I'm very green in stocks. Coca-Cola, Home Depot helping with that. Nike helping as well. Target helping as well. Look at ENPH. Again, the NASDAQ has filled this entire gap on the downside here. And again, this is mostly driven by microchip rebounding. Here's NVIDIA back up to 179s. Yeah, I'll put my timer up for, all right, so seeing a V-shaped recovery here in markets. I'll put my timer up for ISM PMI data. Again, we have one at 9:45, but it's not a big one. The ISM Institute of Supply Management data is at 10 a.m. So we have 23 minutes roughly. Up now. All right, so look, we did reject right here on the NQ at the VWAP here, and here's the VWAP on NVIDIA. We're watching that. Again, E and PH very strong in the day. Got creamed in AMD today. Crazy Bitcoin wick. Yeah, here's a Bitcoin. $75s for Bitcoin. We did rebound pretty strongly here, but we did reject. Again, if you look at the NASDAQ, a 200 exponential moving average here, bro. Right there. Yeah, we do have the regular manufacturing PMI data going live. S&P Global Manufacturing is what it is in about 7 minutes, but the big ISM data. And again, is this Jim Cramer's fault? He said this probably, what, like 30, 40 minutes ago? Software decline seems overdone to me at this time. Cramer. Look at that breaking news here. European Parliament agrees to resume work on implementing U.S. trade agreement according to EU lawmakers. Again, EV sales in China last year hit a record 13 million vehicles, exceeding car sales for the first time. Or internal combustion engine car sales. Sales of internal combustion engines in China fell 13% year over year to 12.3 million last year, lowest in 15 years. All right, so we're kind of sideways here. We have about 5 minutes left until we have the S&P Global Services PMI data. Get 5 minutes left, 5 minutes. Yeah, ISM's at 10, but we have S&P Global PMI at 945. It's probably not going to give us the influence that ISM services data will at 10, but it's something. And we'll see. Again, gold and silver. Guys, gold and silver. Let's take a look at them. NVIDIA going back up. Gold down. Under $5,000 an ounce right now for gold. Gold is under 5K an ounce. You can see it on the left side. Silver is tumbling down as well. It's at 88.70s an ounce for silver. So silver and gold pulling back a little bit at the opening bell here. I've been trading the NASDAQ mostly. NASDAQ's starting to come back down though if we look at it here. Gold and silver tumbling back down. Again, here's the NQ. Starting to fall. Kind of a range right now, to be honest, for the NASDAQ. We'll see what the normal... Again, there's rumors we're getting jolts. I don't think we're getting jolts. I think they would tell us if we're getting jolts. But maybe I'm wrong. What's going on? It's hard to tell. I don't think we're getting jolts today, bro. Let me see. I mean, I'll cover just in case we... I don't think... I don't think we're getting jolts. Again, I think if we were getting jolts, we would have heard from the Bureau of Labor Statistics today. So considering they still haven't even changed their site information here. Here's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. All right, so there's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They haven't even changed this. It says website is currently not being updated. And so, you know, assuming they're going to release a release jolts report in 18 minutes when they haven't even updated their site from Monday yet, seems low odds. But maybe we get jolts. At the very least, we'll get ISM services data today, because that's not. And maybe it'll be good. Last time we got some big movements, but I do not think we're getting jolts. I would be careful. But again, I do not think we're getting jolts. Not today. Maybe later this week. All right, guys. So NASDAQ back up to that 200 EMA level. Look at it. It's at around 385. We just actually rejected right off. A lot of stuff's flat on the day, though, that I'm showing right now heading into this report. I'm still technically green in stocks, and I'm green day trading futures. But, all right, guys. We got a minute and a half before regular services PMI for January by global S&P Global. It's expected at 52.5. Last time was 52.5. This one's for January. Again, I do not think it's going to move markets. But we'll see. Here's the NASDAQ in silver on the left. We'll see what it does to these. I'll put gold up, actually. I think gold is gauge for stuff like this. Gold right around $5,000 an ounce. Again, NASDAQ rejecting at the 200 EMA again. We have about a minute left before S&P Global Services PMI. Again, it's expected at 52.5. We got news that I believe the U.S. and the European Union, the EU Parliament has agreed to resume work on implementing a trade deal between the European Union and the United States. I do see that news came out. Apparently, the Kremlin was informed in advance about the convo between Chinese President Xi and Trump. Yeah, jobless claims is still coming out. It was going to come out regardless of whether the government opened up or not, just because of it's not included in the partial shutdown. All right, guys, here we go. Services PMI for January coming out at 52. It's expected at 52.5. This is not the big one. The ISM one is the big one, but it drops right now. 52.7, stronger than expected. Global composite PMI was also 53, stronger than the 52.8 expected. So both global composite and services showed up stronger, higher than expected, as well as higher than the previous readings. Again, slightly stronger. Again, I don't know how much this is going to move things. ISM services will probably move it a little bit more, and maybe the market wants rate cuts, and so they're not going to interpret this as a positive thing. I really don't know. But that data just came out. Again, regular was stronger than expected. 52.7 versus 52.5. So slightly stronger. Kind of flat, though. Again, the ISM one should be a larger release. Again, the ISM services PMI comes out at 10 a.m. Still waiting on that release. All right, guys, look at the gold stock or gold futures fall under $5,000 an ounce. We are now under 5K an ounce for gold. Higher or lower ISM services. Again, this one shows a little bit of higher, but the market is not reacting well to this. If we get a little bounce, I'll short. Again, if we get a little bounce, I'll short. There's a little bounce, I'll short. We're already green on the day. There we go. Very quick move down. Give it a second now on the rest. Very quick move down. I want to see if the red gets in control here. There we go. I covered this break even. It might actually reject, but we made money on that one too. So could short into this as well. I don't think I'm going to. All right, guys. ISM services data again. 12 minutes left. 12 minutes. President saying anything right now? Not that I see. I know he met with the Chinese president, but I don't think he's speaking right now. Again, Amazon is planning to use AI to speed up the process for making movies and TV shows. Well, obviously, that's the case. You know, editing, special effects, graphics, all highly, you know, influenced by AI, and production of those are going to get influenced by AI for sure. All right, guys, look at the NASDAQ bounce up here. Again, we're a little flat ahead of ISM services in about 11 minutes, but NASDAQ's getting pretty close to that 200 EMA again. I kind of want to short this again, just betting on chop ahead of the data release, but it's not an easy bet. If I do it, I might do it on like a combine or something. We did do this in a combine here. Go. 300. We'll take half of that off. Chop. Got 50, 270. There we go. That's exactly what we want. All right, we're out. Very quick move. Another choppy kind of thing here. But we got another move down, exactly what we wanted here. Again, 10 minutes left until ISM services. Bitcoin, if we look at it, has started to creep up a little bit more. So again, we were really red, but we kind of filled some of that gap on the upside here. So that's good. Bitcoin's starting to show resilience. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I think we're honestly pretty sideways in range. I can't tell if the market is just unsure ahead of Alphabet earnings or whether it's waiting on ISM services data. But again, the NASDAQ itself, if we look at it here, and that's a terrible line I just again, in this range right now. Top of the range is like 25.4s. Bottom of the range is like 25.250 or so, 25.2. Yeah, I'm hearing Trade Evade is having some issues. Again, here's the range right now in the NASDAQ. Again, look at gold. Gold's back over 5K. It bounced right around 5,000. And again, psychological. Here's 5K. You can see how much buyers step in at 5K levels for futures. So grass is green and the sky's blue. Sky's green, grass is blue. Not trading until 10 a.m. because it's a dangerous chop. Yeah, in ISM, we do have ISM services data coming out at 10. So, again, this is after the previous print for ISM manufacturing data was high, right? The previous print for ISM manufacturing was high. And so we got something going on with ISM data here. See what we get, though. Again, ISM services, PMI data expected in 8 minutes. 8 minutes. And I do not think we're getting jolts, but I do think we're going to get ISM services. All right, chat. Here's the question. Do you guys think the market's going to react well to ISM services data? Positive or negative reaction here? Are you bullish or bearish? Again, just to put this in perspective, Monday we got manufacturing data from ISM. Way stronger than expected. And we actually got some volatility from it. And so services PMI today could influence things, especially in a week where we did have data, but now it's kind of slow. Again, are you bullish or bearish? We did a poll. It was 60-40. Now we got about 54% bulls, 46% bears. All right, NASDAQ at the bottom of that range, the bottom of that chop. But it's starting to fall over the last 5 minutes here in the NASDAQ. Look at the NASDAQ dip. We had 4 minutes. Alphabet's turned a little bit here as well. All right, NASDAQ's testing the bottom of this range right around 250. Here's 250 right here. I'm looking for this for a bounce level if we get one, but there's 250 on the NQ. We crack under that and hold, I don't know. We're right at 250. Again, Bitcoin turning back down too here. Here's Bitcoin under 75K again. Again, we have no update from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, so I'm pretty certain we're not going to get jolts today. At least not right now. All right, there's 250 bounce. Again, I have some services expected at 53.5. 53.5. NASDAQ, Meta. All right, guys, we got 5 minutes left for ISM services. Again, 5 minutes. All right, look, I'm not going to say I told you, but yeah, again, choppy range. I can't tell if we're choppy. We're probably a little choppy from both ISM print coming out in 5 minutes, as well as Alphabet earnings coming out this afternoon at the closing bell. So we're probably a little choppy from both of those. But at least a little bit. Watch 250 again, 4 minutes into it. I trade NASDAQ mostly, some silver and gold stocks as well. You know, we trade a little bit of everything, to be honest. Downtown getting destroyed. Hyped up company though. There's 257s. Robinhood at 80s. There's 250s again on the NASDAQ here. We got 3 minutes left, chat. Again, I do not think we're getting jolts today. They haven't even updated their site from February 2nd for the BLS, so I don't think we're getting jolts. We're supposed to have CPI next week. I hope they don't push that back. They've only been shut down for 2 freaking days, bro. So, all right, NASDAQ under 250s now. Again, we have 2.5 minutes until ISM services. It's expected again at, I believe, 53.5 for ISM services. Again, 53.5 is what's expected today. Here's the NASDAQ. Yeah, this affects everything. Again, here's gold pulling back down almost to 5,000. Again, ISM services expected at 53.5. We have 2 minutes left. Previously, ISM services showed up at 54.4. So the previous services showed up strong as well. Here we go. We got less than 2 minutes, chat. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up to the stream. All right, here we go. 30 sec. A minute and a half, actually. Yeah, trade of eight's down, I believe, right now. NASDAQ still falling. 25,200s. Silver doing. Silver's under 90s. The metal's down a little bit today. NASDAQ down as well at the open. All right, here we go, guys. We got 1 minute left. 1 minute left. Again, ISM manufacturing expected 53.5. Previous was 54.4. And again, I don't know if the market's waiting for this or Google Alphabet earnings. Could be both. All right, here we go, guys. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Here's the NASDAQ, and then I'll put gold up on the left side. Gold just tapped 5,000 ahead of this print, so... And here we go, 20 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. You can put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up to the stream. We just bounced right at 5K. 10 seconds, 5 seconds, really. All right, guys, let's see what the NASDAQ does here on the right. And here's the report right now. There's 10 a.m. Services, 53.8, stronger than expected. 53.8, stronger than expected for ISM services. Again, 53.8, stronger than the 53.5 expected. 53.8, stronger than expected here. NASDAQ's actually down. Again, stronger than expected here. Stronger than expected, guys. Again, 53.8, 53.5 expected. Previous at 54. NASDAQ reacted negatively to this print. Again, 53.8, 54.4 expected. 54.4 last time. 53.8 this time. NASDAQ did not like this at all. Gold is now under 5,000, or at least it was for a split second. Look at the NASDAQ tumble down here, though. NASDAQ's dropping pretty big on this report. Again, 53.8, stronger than the 53.5 expected. Maybe they wanted a blowout, or maybe they want rate cuts. And this is less... This is not as good for rate cuts, of course. Again, ISM services 53.8 versus expected 53.5. I'll put this up on screen, but yeah, here's the report right here. Again, 53.8 versus expected 53.5. This has started a downturn in markets here, where the markets are down pretty significantly on this report. Again, ISM services weaker than higher than expected, stronger than expected, maybe less good for rate cuts. Let's see what the yields are doing here. Yields are actually going down on this report. Look at yields. Yields are decreasing some. NASDAQ's down. Okay, look at this drop. Wow. We're green on the day. How much are we green? It's a little bit of a delayed reaction here. And again, as I said, I don't think we were going to get jolts today. I'm going to buy this. I'll catch a falling knife for one here. Let's see what happens. I'm betting on a first move is the wrong move scenario. We covered a little bit into it. Let's see if we get another bounce. Add a little bit more to this. I'll give it some time though. I'm gonna cut it right there. Scalping the overextended move here. ISM prices for services showed up at 66.6 versus 65 expected here. So but good. It depends on what the market wants. Market might want rate cuts, but I should have held that long. A lot of stuff's actually bouncing back up. Let's take a look at gold here. Gold began bouncing where at $5,000 an ounce, psychological. Here's 5K an ounce. You see how much buyers step in. And so again, gold bouncing at $5,000 an ounce. NASDAQ still breaking down some here. Yeah, I don't know if the market's crashing, but it's definitely red. I think we've had so many green days in markets this year that we have like a 1% down day and people were like, it's the end of the world. Market's crashing. And so I don't know if we're there yet in terms of market crash, but it's definitely not looking good. Again, here's the NASDAQ start to fall some more. So again, Bitcoin had this big surge back up. Look at Bitcoin. Not just today. I mean, we've definitely been contracting some for sure. Speaking of contracting things, my nose is all stuffed up, bro. Throat hurts. I got bow and arrow choked. Was it yesterday? No, it was Monday. I thought maybe that's why my throat hurt, is because I got bow and arrow choked. But now my nose is stopped up. Throat hurts. I think I got what my kids had. They were sick the last few days. Last like week. Oh, NASDAQ still bouncing higher here. So is Bitcoin though. We're up to 25.18. 25.18. Well, being halfway down, I mean, look, it's not a big not a big drop. Short term, like a crash is usually considered a big drop short term. Now we might be correcting some in markets, but it's not like a huge parabolic, like not yet. Would you rather buy gold or Bitcoin, chat? Let me know. Gold or Bitcoin right now. In fact, I'm going to do a poll on this. I think this is an interesting poll. Bull or bears? We had 1,500 votes on our poll today. The bulls won by about 10%. Would you rather buy gold or Bitcoin right now? Gold, Bitcoin, or I'm gonna throw a spicy question or a spicy answer of neither in there. Again, we're gonna gold, Bitcoin, or neither. Go to the poll. The poll is now live. NASDAQ definitely looks bearish though right now. How about silver? Mexico's President Scheinbaum on oil shipments says Cuba has an open credit line and they make payments on it. The Besson is appearing before the House Committee on Financial Services right now. For what? Is it? It's not the semi-annual monetary policy report. Yes, the Besson's about to speak on the House Services Financial Committee. NASDAQ rebounding back up here, though. So NASDAQ is starting to fight its way back up. See if it holds. Okay, so Treasury Secretary Besson will appear before the House Financial Services Committee on Wednesday morning to deliver the annual report from the Financial Stability Oversight Council, which is tasked with identifying and responding to economic risks. It comes as the administration has struggled to sell high tariff policy, rising inflation. Scheduled for 10 o'clock. He's supposed to speak about the economy, though. Let's see. I'm gonna throw in a little feeler trade here on this. Might add one to this here. Just see if we back down fast. Go half off there. Got that right there. Scalping future. Here's what I'm doing on this account. We have this starting now. He's supposed to speak on the economy again. I don't know if I'm going to cover this.
The Committee on Financial Services will come to order. Without objection, the chair is recognized to declare a recess of the committee at any time. Today's hearing is titled The Annual Report of the Financial Stability Oversight Council. Without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days within which to submit extraneous materials to the chair for inclusion in the record. I now recognize myself for a 4-minute opening statement. Good morning, Treasury Secretary Besson. Welcome. It's an honor to have you with us today to provide testimony as the chair of the Financial Stability Oversight Council. Today, we will examine recent actions taken by the FSOC and provide members the opportunity to address any questions or concerns regarding FSOC's 2025 annual report. As the 2025 annual report makes clear, economic growth is essential for financial stability. In a growing economy with rising incomes, debt burdens fall, American standards of living rise, and the financial system remains stable. It's encouraging to have financial regulators and policymakers who
I'll send you guys this link if you want it.
Fundamental reality.
But I'm going to cut out of here probably. Yeah, so again, I'm probably going to skip this one. All right, chat. So again, we are going to be streaming Google earnings a little bit later. I'm going to get out of here. Sorry, I got to turn this guy off. Again, if you want to watch Bessent speak during this, he is going to speak about the economy. It might move markets. Bessent is typically a dovish person. So Bessent is generally dovish from all this stuff. But if you want to take a look at it and watch it, again, we'll put it up here. But the NASDAQ rejecting at that level. Gold's trying here. And give me a second. I got to schedule the other stream. Yeah, just give me 1 second. I got to just schedule the stream here. All right, guys. So again, we're going to cut out of here. I will be back later on this afternoon. Google earnings after the closing bell might cause volatility. With that said, Google now down to 336 is here. All right, so again, this is going to be today. And yeah, guys, I'm going to cut out of here. We're green on everything today, to be honest. Market's kind of choppy and flat but in some ways right now, but it's been breaking down. We've mostly been shorting today. And we went long a little bit buying the dip. But yeah, mostly green today, mostly green. I think we're actually green on everything. So I will cut out of here, guys. I'll see you guys in a few hours for Google earnings. Appreciate the love, of course. And yeah, oh, you want the link to Bessent? I got you guys. Hold on, let me give you that. I got too many windows up here. Yeah, here's from the Associated Press if you want to. Oh. Yeah, there it is right there. Check it out. All right, guys. I'm going to cut out. Good luck. Y'all be safe. I'll see you guys in a couple hours for Alphabet earnings.